The last thing I want to tackle is showing you briefly how to handle events in React. Specifically, what I mean is that in the application, you'll have all of these post previews, and we'd like it so that when we click on one of them, it opens a post detail, so to speak. You know what I mean? So the what I have in mind is that when we click on a post preview, that is, we basically we pass that post data up to app.js and hold it in a property called selected post. Okay? And for right now, that's just going to be empty. Okay? So the reason I'm thinking we could do it that way is that we can have a post detail component in list of posts, and because of the way React works, you can use JavaScript to trigger CSS. So what I mean is we can use JavaScript to say if selected post is empty, as in there's no selected post, then keep the post detail component hidden. But if selected post is not empty, then show the post. So I'm going to actually make that an array real quick, just for right now. Because that way I can check array.length to make my conditional logic work. So let me show you what I mean. And this can be kind of some general guidelines for how to handle click events in any React component. So the first thing you do is just go to where that click event is supposed to happen, which of course is on these post previews. First thing you do is say onClick, which is provided to you by React, and say empty parentheses, console.log, clicked. Okay? All right. And replace the double quotes there, and then say that. I don't know if it'll like that. The comment in there like that. Okay, so that wasn't a problem. And now, hopefully, we get something. We don't yet, okay? And why that is, we'll have to do a little digging to find out. For one thing, let's say, let's try something a little more general, like the zoom out, so to speak. Let's do that. Okay? Let's just try putting the onClick on the list of posts. Sometimes with click handlers, if you're being a little too specific, it won't know yet. Okay? Let's see here. Okay. What about if we do, let's see, if we put the onClick on here. Sometimes it's just what you got to do. Is just keep fiddling until you get it. There we go. Okay, so that's working. So that's nice, except all of these are triggering the same click event, right? So I think I see what I did wrong now. Okay, so I set onClick on the React component itself, but I need to be even more specific than that, right? I violated the rule that I stated when I first started trying to do this. I said you go to exactly the exact element where the event takes place. And the correct answer to that is actually this element. This is where the event takes place. So let's save those. Let it render. And now we can see that these are all each having their own click event. Maybe we can verify that by doing onClick console.log post props.post.description. Let's verify that. So when I click on hotkeys, I get hotkeys. When I click on this thing here, I get this. Interpolation search, I get interpolation search. Great. Okay. So now what I would do, if you struggled like I did to figure out where exactly to do that, you want to make a note of it by committing it. So add on click to post preview and push. Okay. Now the next thing we got to do is pass this data up through list of posts into app.js. Okay. So this is just by its very nature not very straightforward when you're starting out with React. You just kind of have to do it until you get used to it. But we'll try to make it as straightforward as possible. So for one thing, the data I want to pass is actually the whole post, not just the description. So I'm going to change that. And I'm going to say props.handleClick props.post. Okay? So this is like passing props.post to a click handler. What I'm going to do is say handle click, right? I called that prop here, but I need to define it in order for it to do anything. And then what I like to do is just say grab that post that I'm expecting and console.log it. Okay, so I'm passing props.post to the handle click prop, and then I'm just console logging it. Okay, so let's see here. Got to grab one of these. Right, just put that up there so that we get rid of that error. Okay, make sure it still works. Okay, it does still work, and yeah, now we're getting the whole post object, which is pretty cool. So when I click on the hotkeys.md, I can open it and look at the description. Yep, that's hotkeys.md. Click on that one down there, scroll down, and the description matches. So this is great. Now let's go ahead and pass it up one more time. So in here I did on click to handle click, and here I'm going to do handle click to handle post preview click. That might sound kind of verbose right now, but just bear with me. Post preview click. Okay, so semantically this kind of makes sense to me. So onClick is the raw event, you know, the synthetic event provided by React. Handle click is just like, you know, handle this click. And then handle click maps over to handle post preview click. And handle post preview click is specific enough for us that if we write a method in here, which we're going to do in a second, it'll be like readable, and it'll make sense like which method goes with which click handler. So I'm passing post to handle post preview click. Now I just need to write that. Handle post preview click equals, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Post console.log post. Okay, you grab that right there, put it there. Save all my files. Make sure there's no errors. Handle post preview click is not defined. Well, yeah, because I just need to say props dot. Okay, so that's good. That's working. Again, the linter, your best friend. Okay, cool. And again, we can verify the description matches the rendered description. So now we're getting somewhere, okay? Now, so yeah, no, like I just, through gradual stages of console logs, I just passed this event. I like let it bubble back up to app. So like very little friction, you know what I mean? I console log it, make sure it shows up, and then pass it to a prop. Okay, and then I name that prop, console log it. All right, it works. So instead of console logging, I pass it to another prop. And then up here, I name that prop and I console log it and make sure all still works. Okay? Now what we need to do is say handle post preview click. What we want to do is have that select a post. So this dot select, and actually handle select post. Okay. Again, the naming convention here, like think about what do these have to do? These are just these events, all they know about is clicks. They don't know anything about posts or selecting posts. These are just click events. Okay? Same thing here. This doesn't know anything about selecting events, right? Because this is not a stateful component. It just renders stuff or passes events along back up to app. Okay? So, but then once we get here, the naming convention changes a little bit. In this component, we actually do care about state. We actually do care about selecting posts. So we go from using click in our naming convention to actually like semantically expressing the operation that's supposed to take place. Now this is passing post to a method on the app class, which I'm going to write here. Handle select post, and we're expecting a post. And I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing all along. Just console log it, right? And add a disable next line, just to make sure. It doesn't like that, so we'll just use the old school way of writing a method. Okay. Now, let's go back in here. Okay. And you can see that's coming from line 22 in our method. That's pretty good, okay? So again, this works, the console log works. Now let's replace it with some real code. We're going to say this.set state and say selected post is post. So let's do that. Let it reload. Forgot a semicolon there. All right, let's look at the React Dev tools. Selected post is empty right now. When I click here, notice it changed. Did you see that? Look at that. Okay. All right, so now we're really getting somewhere. And so this would be a better time than any to add commit let's see, handle select post. Geez, how do I word this? Drawing a blank on it. Let's see, add handler for selecting a post. Sweet. Okay. All right. So the last part of this that I want to look at is making the selected post show up. in a post detail, so to speak. So we're going to take care of that in the next video.